You might ask yourself, recovering from living a life of fear, resentment, anger, pain, manipulation, lies, deceit. The list goes on. They talked a lot here about the drugs. My primary issue is addiction, and the symptom of addiction is drug use, alcohol abuse, and all sorts of other funky behaviours, just not to feel the effects of addiction. As a kid, I had a mental illness that wasn't diagnosed. Hindsight, looking back, tells me I had a mental illness that I never reached out about, talked about, told anybody about, was completely unaware of, that I medicated with drugs. So when that time came, I think it's safe to say that most of us get offered something at some point, alcohol even, and when that time came and I said yes, I took that drug. Something happened in me when I took that drug. I didn't get addicted to cocaine the very first time I took it. I didn't get addicted to alcohol physically the very first time I took it. I got addicted to what it did to me instantly. The very first line I took, the very first drink, joint, pill, whatever I took, I was immediately addicted to the outcome of what that drug did to me. I wasn't physically addicted. I didn't need to take more coke. I didn't need more alcohol. I wasn't out robbing people to get, a bag of cans or a gram of coke. But I was almost there with what it did to me. Because all of a sudden, that mental illness that I had as a kid was gone. So I learned really fast that the more of this stuff I put in my body, I didn't have to feel anymore. I was incapable of dealing with my feelings, my thoughts and emotions in any way. I was about to say in a positive way, in any way at all, not even a negative way. I didn't want anything to do with life. I didn't want anything to do with reality. I had completely disconnected from myself, like a nice, gentle little boy who I was just shy and insecure, and completely disconnected from family. And then, as soon as I took the drug, I felt connected. I was like, wow, I'm a part of something, These boys I'm doing the drugs with are like family now. We can all just get high and sit around and talk about all sorts of madness, how we're going to do this and do that, none of which we ever did. Come up with these schemes, ideas, and it just kept me completely away from reality, kept me from in here. My worst enemy was in here. And then, with trying to medicate a mental illness, which I still don't know what that could have been, but it's addiction, right? I medicated with drugs that destroy your mental health. So I had a mental health issue that I tried to medicate with something that destroys your mental health. So we can see how that goes. And I created this chaos. And chaos was fine. Chaos wasn't boring. There was lots to be doing in chaos. But the main point was that I did not have to sit and be David Breheny. I at all costs to be something else. That's addiction. Cocaine, alcohol, all of that stuff, I thought that's my main problem, When I came into recovery, I was like, if I just stop taking coke and drinking and doing all this stuff, I'm going to be fine. And when I started, I said I'm an addict. I'll die an addict. Whether I die clean or not now is up to me, because now I have a choice, because I'm clean. I don't take addictive substances. I'm not addicted to cocaine. I don't take it. I haven't taken it in 3 years. Could I possibly say I'm addicted to it? No, I don't take it. Nicotine, also don't take it. Alcohol, don't take it. I don't have a drink problem today, and I don't have a drug problem. Why am I still an addict? Because I still need medication today. Recovery now is my medication. Doing these talks is a type of medication for me. It gets me out of me and into the real world, and it gets me giving back. I always thought consumption would make me happy. So, I used to put tags on my happiness, expectations, and I'll be happy when I get that job. I'll be happy when I get another gram. I'll be happy when I drink more. I'd be happy if I married her. I'd be happy if I get promoted, if I drive that car and buy that house. All of that stuff is just the same as drugs. None of it makes me happy. Not a thing. And I always thought consumption was what would make me happy. So I have an internal problem, and I was looking for an external solution to that problem. when the answer was always in me. And recovery has opened the door for me to accept myself for who I am and to love myself, you know. The best relationship I have today is with myself. You know, I could never, as a kid, nobody went around telling me I wasn't good enough. Nobody told me you're not smart enough, handsome enough, athletic enough, any of these things. That was just ingrained in me. It was just something that was there. It was there, you know. I was supported and parents did the best, you know, loved, and I was cared for, and you know, but there was trauma along the way, you know, and so with all of that negativity I had in myself and low self-esteem and insecurities and the self-chatter that was just so destructive, you know. Like, I wouldn't even try in school. I wouldn't try hang out with other boys and play Gaelic football or soccer or like apply myself to anything, because I'm not like them boys. That disconnection kept me away from them boys. The negative self-talk and self-belief, cognitive distortion, that kept me from even believing that I could. So I just felt screwed either way, and the shyness and the, you know, bullying along the way, and that just kind of really showed me that, well, I am just like that. You know, I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough, and so when I started taking cocaine, like the guy said, you could be Superman. You can do anything. You could talk to girls. You could beat up a bully. Some guy that was bullying you, give me some cocaine and I'll be beating him up. I'll have all this fake self-belief, which is just a dramatized version of something that's not real, and just live on that. Just became okay with that. But in doing the drugs, I didn't realise any of this until I put the drugs down, because I was so fogged up, clouded, too busy thinking about myself and where I'm going, what I'm doing, that I wasn't aware of a single thing going on around me. Who I was hurting, how I was hurting people, and most of all I hurt myself, you know. I've hurt myself more than anybody else on this planet, you know, physically, emotionally, psychologically, you know. And I think cocaine, yeah, like the guy in the video said, the paranoia and the just the darkness of depression, like it just gets so worse. To medicate yourself if you're depressed or you have anxiety or any of that, to medicate that with cocaine is probably the worst thing in the world that it could be medicated with. Like, and alcohol being a depressant, and so it goes down the rabbit hole. So at all costs, I had to be high. I had to. Like, there was no way I couldn't be. Because as soon as I get up hungover, and throughout the day, as you start to withdraw, shakes from the alcohol, depression, paranoia from the cocaine, all sorts of stuff, I began to become aware of reality again, and that can't happen. I'm not okay with that. Not okay. Even pre-drugs, like, my life was unmanageable. And I don't mean out here. That's all just crap. You know, in here where it matters, was completely unmanageable. That self-belief and wasn't there. Self-love, even self-care, like the guy not showering or taking medication. You know, I'm a type 1 diabetic. You know, not injecting myself with insulin or checking sugars, and just completely careless, because none of that mattered. I had 2 kids in Ireland. They didn't matter, and they really didn't matter. You know, ex-partners didn't matter. You know, when I was using mother dying of cancer, it really didn't matter. It really didn't. I can say that today. It wasn't. The drugs didn't help, but even without the drugs, I was just so conflicted and damaged and disconnected. You know, like I often say that when family are having gatherings at Christmas and there'd be a whole, you know, grandma parents and uncles, and the house would be full and vibrant and buzzing, and, you know, Christmas and all that, and I just felt like I was literally just dropped there from outer space, and I don't belong. These people do not understand, and this is pre-drugs. This is before I even ever began to medicate myself with whatever it was. And I just felt like I was constantly looking in the living room window of my home at my family, you know, like just like an orphan, kind of just completely put on the outside, which they did their best, you know, but that was the way I felt with the situation that was in it, you know what I mean? And so using drugs was, as I said, it was just a medication. And the physical addiction didn't come until years later. Years of drinking and using cocaine. And ecstasy and all their marijuana and acid and ketamine, MDMA, Xanax, crack, heroin, like the list goes on. It didn't matter. If I could put that in my body, and I had some sort of result that would keep me out of reality or shyness, or I'd take it for sure. No problem at all. I destroyed so many relationships that I'm rebuilding with kids that I just walked out on. I've gone for 7 years out of their lives, and that fueled more using. So bad decisions because of addiction led to more using, and on it went. And just excuses too. I'd make a bad decision and not do so well in life, and well, of course, and I just turned to the good old the bag or the bottle, and try and drown it or snort it away, and just came to a point where it's like, this stuff doesn't work anymore. And I was so selfish that in all the chaos and all the hurt, like I was talking about, my mum dying of cancer, and I wasn't, involved like I would have liked to have been. I wasn't there. I just buried my head in the sand and used more, and never called my kids. Moved 6,000 kilometers across the world and just completely disconnected from their lives, and in all that hurt, you would have thought that would have been enough for me to say, I have to do something here. Like, I have to stop using. All contact with family was gone. I was in the depths of despair. No, that wasn't enough, because this guy was still all right. The number one person in my life was me, and so everyone else that I hurt and destroyed didn't matter. There was me and the drugs, and with that, I'll get through anything. And I was just completely careless, until I started to really suffer, just like the rest of my family and world had because of me. When I started to feel that, and that started happening to me, that's when I began to look and go, I think I might be an addict. I have addiction, the disease of addiction. But the using still went on for years and years after that, like 7 more years. And it just amped up. Then it just got more and more. I couldn't use enough in the end. I really couldn't. I'd have a large quantity of cocaine on the table, and 66 of whiskey or rum or whatever it would be, and I'd be on my knees praying to a God that I didn't even believe in to just please help me, praying to my mother, please help me just to stop, and I'd be like ugly crying, like really upset. I remember being on my knees and just praying and just desperate, and getting up off my knees and sticking my face into the table and swigging on the bottle, and that cycle would go on and on and on. And I just had to, looking back, that's the way I had to go. I had to suffer. I really had to suffer. I was homeless, kind of couch hopping on friends' couches for 7 months in this kind of period, the dark period where I was close to dying. That was at the end, and they were all bottoms. You often hear, well, I had to hit bottom, and these were all the bottoms that I hit. I actually come up off a bottom, and was living somewhere, and this kind of false idea of how I'm managing this, and that's when I actually quit. I got up, St. Patrick's Day 2017 was my last day using, and it was just a regular Paddy's Day, friends over, copious amounts of cocaine and alcohol, and I just got up the next morning, as I did every time, like never doing that again, but this time I meant it. This time, something clicked. I really don't know what it was, but I had hit so many bottoms, overdosing, having fits, foam coming out of my mouth, and coming out of that and kept using, like the guy said in the video. They were bottoms. Walking away from my kids were bottoms. Not being there for family were bottoms. All sorts of violence. I could be here forever talking about violence with cocaine. They weren't bottoms, but just that day I got up and I said, that's it. I'd enough. I'm not happy. And there was a few suicide attempts, but I didn't want to die. I just didn't want to live. I just didn't want to feel the pain. And that was the whole purpose of my addiction, was to not feel. It wasn't to destroy other people. It wasn't to die. There's only one thing worse than dying, and that's not living. When we're dead, it's over. It's done. Not living and being conscious and aware in that pain for your whole life, that's hell. Hell is not down there. It's in here, and I was there. David Bowie often said religion is for people who are scared of going to hell, and spirituality are for people that were there. That's something that saved my skin. It's a huge part of my recovery, being spiritually connected. Connection is the opposite of addiction. So if I'm connected, I've got a good shot. Am I going to die clean? I don't know, but I'm telling you now, I'm not going to use today, and I'm not going to use tomorrow. You know, there's lots of things I have to do. You know, I say I still need that medication. You know, and giving back is probably the biggest part of that medication for me today. You know, when I can still wake up and start thinking to myself, what's David going to get today? What am I going to do today? That's not good. That's not good for me. I can be extremely self-centered, you know. It's me. And so when I get away from that and stay connected, you know, to spiritual principles, all religions teach them. Love, kindness, generosity. You know, as I say, I'm not religious, but there's lots of things that can be learned from all of those books. It doesn't matter if it's the Quran or the Bible or any of them. They're preaching the same thing. And so when I just live by those, I don't think about drinking or using. You know, if a family member dies today, if a relationship fails, if I don't get the job, that's okay. Lots of things I've learned in recovery is that it's okay not to be okay. I don't need to fight that. You know, I don't need to be in a room full of family at Christmas and everyone's laughing and having a great time. Maybe I'm sitting there not feeling so good. Maybe I'm down. Maybe I'm feeling anxious. And I don't know why. I don't have to fight that today and become happy. I don't have to put a mask on. You all right, Dave? Yeah, I'm grand. No, I'm not okay. People get shocked. They ask me, how are you doing? I'll tell you how I'm doing. I will tell you exactly how I'm doing. Because if I don't, addiction will take my life. And it's a disease. I have no power over addiction. I do in recovery. If I don't take that first drink or start buying drugs, I have a chance. But in early recovery, you know, I've had guns in my mouth, trying to blow my head off, guns jamming, bullets failing. That's addiction. Nothing to do with drugs. Drugs is just a symptom. That's it. That's a symptom. So why are so many people using drugs? Are they disconnected from family, from themselves? I believe so. I believe trauma is a big part. You know, abuse, situations, culture, economics. It could be, you know, it's so vast. I think we're all addicts in a way. Everybody. I just medicate it differently. You know, there's a friend of mine that owns a gym in the town I'm from. He runs marathons and then runs home after the marathons, like ultra marathons. He runs. He has a great life. He's a businessman. You know, maybe he was just a substance abuser and not a fully blown addict. I don't know. But people seem to deal with things in life differently. Women seem to talk a lot to their friends about, would that be fair to say? You know, do you know, Mary, I was feeling today, this happened to me and then I felt like this, and now I'm heartbroken and I don't know what to do. That's quite normal, I think it's fair to say, for females. For males, we have this other illness called masculinity, and it's killing men. 75% of suicides in the world are male. But yet, statistics say that women think about it 3 times more than men. Men are carrying the act out. And I have a theory on it, this is my opinion. Growing up as a kid, and I was talking about that disconnection, I was certainly disconnected from my dad. He was a good man. He did his best. He did what he could, what he knew at the time, and that's fine. Love him to death. But I could never felt like I could talk to him about how I was feeling or show emotion, because that was weak. Can anyone, the guys here, relate to that? The weakness of, you're crying. You might get a slap on the head and tell him, man up. The most detrimental word to a man, a male. Man up. You know, suck it up. You know, when the kid falls and busts his knees, get him, you'll be grand, you know, get up out of that, you know, and wipe yourself off. And man up, be a man. You know, if you're the man, you have to go and do this, and you have to be this way, and protect your family, and chop the wood, and you know, all these stereotypes. And the one thing you probably will not want to be doing is talking to another man about your feelings, your thoughts, or your emotions. Certainly not my dad, not my dad anyway. And as I said, very smart man, loving man, I just didn't feel like that. I was disconnected. So men, rather than me to talk to you, Jerry, and say, Jerry, I'm having a really hard time, I'm depressed, you know, some old abuse or trauma is really triggered today, and I was really emotional, and, you know, instead of sitting with you and just crying, open up and letting it go, I'll go and kill myself, because I don't want to be deemed weak, feminine, you know, like, he's gay, that way, he's, you know, because I have emotions, you know what I mean, like, and men get stereotyped and demonized, and I feel the pain for them, you know, fatal masculinity. And I know lots of young men that kill themselves, you know, and they're not with us today because they didn't feel they could reach out. They didn't feel it okay for a man to talk to anyone else, even a female, anybody, about what's going on. And I can certainly relate to that theory I have. You know, and other guys, we've talked about the same thing, and I can see it. It's just, I have a son, I have a daughter, you know, and I just hope that my son would come to me and express his feelings. You know, and it's okay not to be okay. You know, it's okay to feel anxiety and depression, and you don't need to manage that in some way. You don't need to be any other way than you are right now. So whatever I'm feeling, I just gotta feel it. I can't go to drugs anymore, I'll die. I can't. I can't go to alcohol anymore. It'll take my life. I have the disease of addiction. It's not going anywhere. My mother had a disease that killed her also. It was cancer. But she died with a room full of family. You know, she still had a job. She still had a car, a bank account, a loving husband. The room was full. There was 2,500 people at her funeral. If this disease takes me, I'll have pushed everybody I love out of my life. I'll be under a bridge somewhere, or homeless, under a sleeping bag, full of resentment, self-hatred, insecurity, fear, anger, suffer. Imagine those feelings being your last feelings on this planet. Alone, destitute, homeless, knowing that you have destroyed your whole life. You know, you have a bit of recovery, you taste that life and then you destroy it. That's addiction. I can't do that, and once that drug is in my body, all bets are off. If I leave here and take a drink, my plans for next Christmas are over. That's how it's done. I'm done, I'm dead. Like, it'll be suicide. And so, doing these talks and listening to Jerry and watching the videos and stuff, I have to put the question out, why in society are we trying to stay disconnected from reality? What's so bad? I know, but I'd love to hear some answers from other people. What's so bad about our feelings? What's so bad about reality? How do I get out of that negative self-talk? How do I become okay with not being okay? Where do I get these tools? Nobody taught me these in school. Nobody taught me what to do when I feel depressed, even what it is. Movies would teach you all this type of crap. I didn't know what to do, who to turn to, where to go. There's a lot more facilities today, like Jigsaw and, you know, Shine and all that type of stuff. It's fantastic. But I had to learn all of this stuff in recovery. The people that went before me are teaching me how to live life on life's terms. You know, because I would have stubbed my toe and used. I would have lost a job and used. I would have got promoted and used. Any emotional, good or bad, I was using. So I mean, there's people who abuse substances. Maybe your teenagers might abuse substances. They might go through that. They might come out the other side and have wonderful lives. Or they might put that drug in their body and go, shit, I don't have to be shy anymore, insecure. I'm very chatty and, you know, I'm full of inspiration and motivation, which is all fake, by the way. It's just the drugs. But those drugs will give them that, just what they need. Just what they need, just what they weren't getting, just what they couldn't create within themselves. I have a mental illness today, it's called addiction. And as I say, it's killing people at a dramatic rate. And the best advice I could give to parents is to just have that dialogue with your kids. You know, of what's going on in their life, emotionally, maybe before they even try the drugs. And to be informed about the help that they can get. The damage that drugs do, I knew all about them. But that was the risk I was willing to take because of how they made me feel. That result that I was getting off using was something I've never experienced before. That's the first spiritual awakening I ever had, was when I took cocaine. Elton John said that in an interview, and I can relate 100%. It was like something I've never felt before. But I'm in recovery today, and today I can feel all of those things and more clean. And when I say clean, I mean physically, spiritually, and emotionally. I don't even think about using today. I can walk by pubs, be in pubs. I don't want any part of it because I have my tools. The things that I might have learned as a child, where would I learn these things? How would I have created these feelings and all of these tools? I had to go where I went. I had to go to the depths of despair and my own personal hell to come out the other side. I have a gift today also, and it's called addiction. Because without that road and that personal hell and all the things, no one wants to hear, someone's story that's all fun and games and greatness and things just given to them and you had a great life. That's not a very good story. I struggled and suffered and went through all that stuff to be the man I am today, and I'm extremely proud of the man I am today. I love myself today. Imagine saying that into a microphone 3 years clean in front of people. I wouldn't have even stood up here. You know what I mean? I have self-belief today. I'm motivated. Fear motivates me. Fear ran my life. Fear was the biggest factor in addiction for me. Now if I feel fear of not getting the job or not keeping the job, I get there earlier and work harder. If I'm scared of not making the team, I train harder. If I'm scared of losing her, I treat her better. It's a motivator. Motivated by pain. I'm not motivated by happiness. I'm just not. If I had things handed to me, I wouldn't do anything. You know, I have to fight every day when I wake up to stay clean, because if I use, all of this is over. So that desire is gone, but I need to be motivated, have direction, goals, you know, dreams. Dreams are a waste without goals. They're just dreams. And I have all of these things today because of recovery. I also have all of these things today because of the life I've had. I don't grow in the light. I grow in the dark. So when I'm suffering and things are down and I'm on my knees again, and I'm on my knees, looking at that table again, that's when I grow. When I move through things, I grow. And so in doing these talks, you know, I hope that parents or people that can relate to the symptoms that I just talked about might have some hope. I was completely hopeless. The only hope I had was that I'd die pretty quick, because living was no fun. And I had to break it down and get it tattooed on my knuckles so I wouldn't forget that all I had quitting and starting this new journey was a glimmer of hope. And a fella broke it down to me one day, HOPE, hearing other people's experiences. What a different life I would have had if I had have heard some of that stuff when I was a kid. Someone I could relate to with the negativity that was going on and the disconnection. Imagine I had talked about it and talked to another human being about how I was feeling and what was going on and why I felt like this, why I couldn't be a part of the other guys, the young boys and the team and the school and you know, if I had just opened up and talked about it, or if I had that facility, what would life have been like? I don't know, but I'm very grateful to be an addict, I'll tell you that. I have gifts and tools today to get through life that other people with addiction don't have. Maybe it should be taught in schools as a preventative, I don't know. So I'm running out of steam and I think I've talked enough, but extremely grateful to be here, and it's great work that Jerry's done, I really appreciate it. And if anyone has any questions afterwards, I'll be here to answer them if I can. Thanks very much.